Call the Culture Committee to order now. Would you please stand for the invocation? And Councilor Austin is going to do that for us.
Lord and Creator, we are here today with a common mission to protect and remember the history of the Cherokee people and to promote the future of the Cherokee people through our culture. And we ask for you to guide us, for you to lead us, and for you to help us always remember those who came before us and pave the way for us to do all the good things we get the opportunity to do today. In your name, we are grateful. Amen.
Amen. Yeah. Thank you. Welcome, Joe.
Once again, I'm going to have to do 2 roll calls. Victoria Vesquez.
Bonnie.
Joe Bird.
Ani.
Harley Bezer. Mike Dobbins.
Here.
Ann Dudkins.
Did you know?
Matt Shambaugh.
Here.
Mary Bakershaw.
Ani.
Leo Smith.
Ani.
Janice Taylor. Here. And then for those that were in the recent elections, I need to know if you're here and you want to be a part of the committee. Steve Austin.
Here, yes.
Julia Coates. Sean Crittenden.
Here, yes.
Joe Deere.
Ani, yes.
Rex Jordan.
Here, yes.
Darrell Legg.
Here and yes.
Wes Nuffire.
Here, yes.
Dora Petzkowski.
Here and yes.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, Shelley. All right, I would ask a motion to approve last month's minutes if everyone.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it, thank you. Our first report will be from Molly Jarvis with Cultural Tourism. Welcome. Thank you.
Morning.
Morning.
We were last here to report at the meeting in July, I believe, and since then we've had a lot going on. We opened our Cherokee National History Museum down in the Capitol Square there, and proud to report that we had about 3,000 visitors just during holiday weekend. But the museum continues to be extremely busy, and we continue to get really good feedback from everyone who has had the opportunity to see it so far. So hope that you've all been there and gotten to see it, and would love feedback from you as well. Just hitting on a couple other things that have happened since we were last here. We hosted the IENTA conference at Catoosa at Hard Rock. That's the American Indian Alaska Native Tourism Association. So this was our second time to host this conference. It's a national conference. We had about 300 tribal members here from different tribes all over the country, and really had the opportunity to highlight the things we have here in Oklahoma. And we partnered with the Muskogee Creek Nation and Chickasaw Nation to provide tours to the attendees and just really give them a flavor for what we have here in Oklahoma. And we also received note from the conference that we had the most media coverage for the conference that they've ever had anywhere. So we were really pleased about that. We have the Cherokee Art Market coming up just a few days away, October 11, 12, 13th. So we hope to see you all there. It's always a very fun event, well attended, with amazing works of art. And then this weekend, we are also hosting Eastern Trails Day in Veneta. So hope to see you there too. See if there are any questions for me.
Thank you, Molly. Any questions? Yes.
Molly, we do we help out with the Marshall Museum there in Fort Smith?
Okay, I'm glad you asked that. I've had a couple of questions about that. We have consulted with them a little bit, but as far as direct participation, we've got Speaker Byrd, and then I believe Catherine Gray are on their board.
Is there any way that we might be able to do a kiosk system there that says, if you like what you see here, head down 64 Highway and then show them other things like Sequoia's home and look how close you are, and maybe pull that tourism this way?
Certainly talk to them about that.
You know, Molly, what we actually need is you or Travis to go and look at what they are presenting to represent our tribe.
Yes.
I think it's a good thing. I think it's a Ned Christie, Zeke Proctor story, but there are other tribes that are being presented there. But I'd like for you or Travis to go and maybe go meet and look at it yourselves and see, is this correct? Is this accurate information that present? And I think it is, but let's make sure.
Yes, we've met with them, but it's been some time, so we can
Yeah.
kind of pick that back up and meet with them again.
It's about 85% complete now. They're lacking like $15 million to complete the project.
Okay.
Is that good?
Counselor Pridgen.
Molly, we had a good trip to the Heritage Center a week or so back. Had a really good trip, and my eyes were open to some things, and they're doing a really good job there. And maybe I should know this, but I don't. I know C&B has a hand in it. Explain to me and anybody else who don't know what exactly C&B's role is at the Heritage Center, please.
Sure. And some of this goes back to that MOU that was in place a long time ago. I think it's pretty much out of date at this point, but we're still participating in some of those ways that were listed in the MOU, where I serve as kind of what's called a contract manager, basically, to help with make sure the parts in the MOU are executed. So I do participate in the board meetings or their development committee meetings as a participant, and then the things we are responsible for there are the marketing. So we serve as basically an agency for the Heritage Center. They come to us for their marketing needs, and then we also operate the gift shop at the Heritage Center.
Gift shop and marketing.
Yes, sir.
And gift shop, of course. So those girls in there, they're C&B employees.
Yes, sir.
Gift shop and marketing.
Yes. We also provide funding for the development manager. So the person who's in that position at the Heritage Center is a C&B employee as well.
Different funding needs that come up if they're needing this or that.
Grants, yes, grants, funding opportunities, sponsorships, the gala that happens every fall, that development manager works on those parts.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Counselor Austin.
Could you update us on the Celine project?
Yes, I can. We had some photos we showed our board cultural committee yesterday, but the house is, the caretaker home is complete, and we have a full-time employee on site there as a caretaker. You know, during the construction project, we had hired security to be on site all the time to make sure there was no vandalism or anything after hours. But now we've got the full-time caretaker there, and the courthouse. They were working on punch list items yesterday, and will continue to do so. And then we plan a fall opening, so probably in the November, late November timeframe. So once the punch list is complete and all construction is complete, we will work on some exhibits for the courthouse that we'll have in place prior to opening.
Just in time for all the leaves to be gone.
Hopefully some will still be there and beautiful, yes.
Thank you. I'm excited to see that
It's
complete.
beautiful, yeah.
Anyone else? Oh, yeah. Mary, Miss Counselor Shaw.
Molly, could you tell me about, could you share with us something about the cultural pathway?
Sure. So that project has been on the capital report for some time, and we continue to work on it. What the plan for this is a pathway that links the new Cherokee National History Museum or Capitol Square. If you can envision kind of downtown Tahlequah, linking that going beside the Supreme Court, between the Arts Center and Caldwell Cafe, all the way to the Prison Museum. So the pathway is designed to be an open space with some public art, you know, a very defined space that yields itself to interpretation, exhibits, you know, art displays, really linking all of those assets we have in downtown Tahlequah, making much more walkable for people to get to and from those locations.
Sounds exciting.
We're very excited and just keep moving forward on the progress of it.
Did you have one?
Just a comment on that, Marshall's Museum. If y'all go down there, you want somebody to go with you, I'll go. I've been
Okay.
down there twice, and it's nice, but it's not very much.
Okay.
I mean, I didn't think it was. I mean, what they got is good, but they just need more.
Okay,
I'd gladly go with you.
thank you very much.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Anyone else? Thank you very much.
Thank
Molly.
you.
Okay, next we have Roy Boney, Chief Ross. Present for Cherokee Nation Language Program. Good to have you and all of your guests.
Yeah, we'll see you on the guide.
See you all right.
Start off with our guest here. You may notice quite a crowd.
Yeah.
This is our Cherokee Language Consortium group. Would you all stand up for a second to be recognized? This is our quarterly meeting with the Cherokee Nation, Eastern Band, United Cthulhu Band representatives for the language. So you may read about them in your report. And they wanted to come today because we have some news, but I'll get to that at the end of the report because I got a few other things to touch on first.
Thank you all
but-
for being here. We're very glad to see you. Thanks, Roy, for that.
Yeah, so I'll start off with our community language classes. Our schedule is finalized now, so we'll send that to you by the end of the day. They start in October. We have 13 classes scheduled across the 14-county area, and we actually have one in Kansas this year in Wichita. We have a teacher there that was certified through our program, and he's going to teach an at-large class up there.
Good.
On October 8th, we're going to have our first meeting with the Cherokee Language Teacher Certification Review Committee with the State Department of Education. What that is for years we've had the issue with getting more certified teachers in the classroom. So this committee is going to review that test with the state to make this a better process for us overall. The committee is made up of representatives from public schools, the immersion school, the NSU Cherokee Language Degree Program, and the language program staff. So some of the people you see in the room are actually serving on this committee. The next thing is, Howard may have more about this in this report, but tomorrow is the Cherokee Language Speaker Celebration Day at the Heritage Center. That starts at 10 a.m., so we hope everyone comes out. We've been promoting it pretty heavily. We're planning for several hundred people, and it's just going to be a great day to celebrate our Cherokee speakers from all three tribes. So that's why we scheduled the consortium to coincide with that, so we have some Eastern Band representatives here too for that. So now I'll get to the consortium news. Back in, I believe it was at the end of June with the Tri-Council meeting, the Tri-Council passed the Cherokee Language State of Emergency resolution. And as part of that, the request was made to get a committee together from the consortium group to serve as an advisory council for that. So yesterday, the consortium voted on it, and they named Kathy Sierra from Cherokee Nation, Della Wolf from UKB, and Roger Smoke from the Eastern Band as reps for that Emergency Declaration Committee. They have alternates as well. The alternates are Anna Sixkiller from the Cherokee Nation, Travis Wolf from the UKB, and Marie Junaluska from the Eastern Band. And one final thing, I forgot this. I wanted to introduce the main officers of the group. So if you could stand as I call your name. The chair is Kathy Sierra. The Cherokee secretary is Anna Sixkiller, and the English secretary is Wanda Bird. And so these are the elected representatives for the group. And with that, I'm open to any questions.
Yes, questions? Councilor Crittenden, yes.
Hey, Roy, on like the speakers meetings that you have and they get medals for being a speaker, what are we doing for the ones that kind of can't get out to these?
We've had a group of people that go out to them, so they'll call Howard or myself, and if we will send out somebody to them to do that. Whether they're at home, a nursing home, hospital, wherever, we'll go out to them.
And so what's the number I can get them?
I can get you Howard's number, my number. I don't know Howard's right offhand, but
Or just the office number? I
Yeah.
wouldn't expect it.
yeah, either one of us, the Cherokee Language Program or the Master Apprentice Program. Yeah, and I'll email you the numbers too after this.
Thank you. Thank you.
Speaker Bird has a comment.
Anybody else gonna have a question for I'm not gonna make a comment. Go ahead.
Roy, this is so exciting on your report. I mean, really exciting. I want to know, are the talking books or the educational video games going to be available in time for Christmas?
I think the talking books will, we're in the process of finalizing the translations for those and the recordings. And what those are, if you're not familiar, they're interactive books that have like this stylus pen where you tap on pictures or kind of scroll over the words and it reads it back to you in Cherokee. That was part of a grant project with the Master Apprentice, and we're using our translators to help them with that, and I believe that's about finished. The video game is a much longer project. I don't think that'll be ready by then, but we are in talks with RSU to help make that happen, and so I think that's a new exciting path. We've been wanting to do this for a while, and so it's finally starting to happen.
Listen, I am so proud of the program, and I'm so proud with the progress you're making, at the speed you're making. This is really impressive. Thank you.
That's amazing. Thank you.
Yes, Roy, our visitors here, Nigado, appreciate you. But this event tomorrow, we passed this. Everybody supported it, the 3 tribes that Echota about 3 years ago. You guys remember at Tri-Council, we passed this resolution to do what we're doing today. So sometimes I get asked, why are we signing this book? What's it for? Where's it going to go? Well, we passed that resolution 3 years ago from the 3 tribes, and it explains that. He just wanted to give us a number to go by. What is left of our speakers? And this may not be the total. There's probably still we're going to miss out there, but we wanted to start with something, of some type of document. When I spoke with Dwayne King, he said this needs to be done soon. So he said, let's get a nice design on a booklet. Everybody sign it. We're going to miss some. We'll put it in the archives, and it will be there. Such and such date, there were this many speakers. Other tribes are looking at us now because they're trying to do the same thing. And I hope it's not too late for them to what we're trying to do. I think we're right on time. We're going to be okay. I mean, somebody says our language is dying. Maybe a little bit, but I think when I see you guys like this, it gives me hope. When I hear our Cherokee Youth Choir. One day I was taking a airplane, I was waiting on a flight, and I took the Fine Airport shuttle bus. I heard the Cherokee Youth Choir on there, singing Cherokee songs. Whoever would have thought 20 years ago we'd be hearing that on a shuttle bus to the airport? So, that gives you hope, and I think we're going to be okay with that. Another thing, Durbin Phelan years ago finished the project that Wesley Proctor started. It's a Brown dictionary book that's out of print now. And I'm always getting requests for that. We don't no longer have that book. If we need funds to reprint that dictionary, it's a hardback. It's a nice hardback book. We will pay for getting some more of those printed. Roy, you and Howard, and you can look into that. Because that's a good thing if people are wanting more of those dictionaries. It's really, I used to have one. I don't know where it is. I think Brother George took it and never did bring it back. But, I know I have one somewhere. But and the other thing is, I was talking to our Chief of Staff, and I really appreciate how he's been involved with supporting this. But we talked about tomorrow. I went to the Elders Conference. We had close to 1,000 people there. And a lot of them were our Cherokee speakers that came. So tomorrow, if it's muddy, if it's humid, and I know that Heritage Center is not going to accommodate 400 or 500 people. If that's the case, then our backup plan, I've already talked to the Chief of Staff, if we need to make everybody comfortable, maybe that Chota room would be something we can use. That's just food for thought. That's option B.
Okay.
But Roy, I really appreciate what you guys have done and where you have taken this. So let's just keep moving where we're going. Well done.
I got one last thing too. I wanted to ask Kathy's here to come up. She wanted to talk a little bit about the consortium itself.
Sure. Counselor Austin, did you have a question?
I wanted to point out something Roy joined me for as well while he was in Claremore. We went and visited the Claremore Veterans Home. They have a group of elder veterans who reside in the Claremore Veterans Home, and they actually join together every week for Cherokee language classes, led by an elder Cherokee who is a first language speaker.
That's awesome.
And they have 6 of them that are of the Cherokee elders who are warriors who have who sit down every week and work through it. Roy joined me there to take materials to them so that they had the materials to work with, and helped them understand, the instructor to understand the online resources that he had available as well, and built that connection with them. So
That's wonderful.
that's honoring those who still yearn to learn at that place in life.
Never too old to learn. Yes, all right. Hi, Kathy.
I just wanted to tell you, the speakers and the consortium started in 2007. I've been a part of that since 2007. For the first 10 years, I was their English secretary. So I'd like to introduce all those that have been in consortium since 2007, which is the Birds, George and Wanda. Would you stand? Anna Huckabee, Six Killer, I'm sorry, Loretta King, Bonnie Kirk. You so George, who's on, okay. Well, that's for the Cherokee Nation, but Eastern Band. Oh, Dennis Six Killer.
Dennis?
John. And no, he does. Or yeah. Come on, John. And then Eastern Band, we have Mary Brown and Marie Junaluska and Janie. I think those are the ones that, Myrtle Driver. Hello, Myrtle. Isn't it God, since 2007 we've been apart. But we have others now that I'd like to make a plea that we could add more at this time, because, you know, we need more that could help us. We just got through, what we're doing right now today is proofreading the notes that I had taken, just making sure all our words are in the book. And Joe, I'm glad you brought that up, because the dictionary that you're talking about, we've got over 3,000 more we can add to that because of our list. Wow. That's what we wanted. It was a new dictionary, but the thing is, we're making words every day. Every time we meet, we are translating. So, I mean, we could make one right now, but we'd have to make one again in another year or two, because that's how many we're adding. So, I appreciate all y'all's support and for all these years, and I hope we can continue, and we just got to work a little harder this year, or from now on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, Councilor
Just
Christian.
the plea that you need more now. Now, what is it you're needing?
We need more members.
Need more? How do we go about getting?
Well,
more
we had done, before we had proposed, Roy had brought a proposal up. I don't know to where or what, but, and we had named some people that we would have liked to join, but it didn't go anywhere.
How do we go about doing that?
Yeah, well, the current situation is each of the tribes picks their members, so we want to add more people. And currently, we can only use employees because travel, yeah, we pay for the travel, but if there's a way we could get around that, if we could add community people to this, to pay for the travel to go to North Carolina to meet quarterly, because we alternate between here and there. But yeah, getting that in place where we could get more people involved. Because right now it's an issue of funding, mainly for that travel part.
Cherokee language emergency, right?
Mm-hmm.
Big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Speaker, would it be okay if they got us a proposal for some of the things they're needing, and we just put it on the table and help them out with it?
Sure, and they come back to this committee. Yeah.
Proposal time, and we've got to help.
All right.
We'll certainly support you in whatever way we can. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Councilor Deere?
It might have was the same question with Sean when it was going to come to funding on the emergency stuff. That was the same question.
I had a comment to make about your dictionary. Here's an idea. Several years ago, there was a lady in Tulsa that interviewed Native artisans, and they would create a monthly, or I don't know, maybe a 6-monthly journal, and there would be a pamphlet form, not necessarily hardback. So maybe you could start that way, making whatever you added, like right now, that's not in the hardback, and make paper copies, like a good-sized pamphlet, and then just have those addendums every time you need one, like twice a year or whatever. It wouldn't be as expensive, and then people could maybe, I don't know, subscribe to it, or, we could sell it, and you all could keep those funds for whatever you need. It's just an idea, something to look at. Yes, go ahead, Joe.
I traveled to Cherokee, North Carolina several years ago. I've been there several times, but going to their museum, they have a Cherokee dictionary for sale there. And, it would, if we're going to do some funding, and it probably wouldn't be a bad idea if we're going to try to get that in paperback, it needs to be made available to the public to be purchased too. Because I would love to have one. I mean, I just thought that was the neatest thing because, I read it in there. So, I think that we would probably, I would say everybody would probably be in favor of doing something like that. It's important.
Yeah.
And it was neat to see it and hold it in your hand. I never knew that existed. So that's the first time I'd seen it, but I'd love to have it here too.
Well, the immersion school always uses, we always make copies, to send up there when they need it. And I think it would just go a long ways, for everybody to have one, because how can you learn it if you don't have it down on paper? Or that's one way of learning.
And I don't think it would be a bad idea to go ahead and reprint some of the hardback, the old ones that, I believe I have one in my home that I inherited from my parents. It's a wonderful thing to have, and those would make nice gifts too. So those are some great ideas, and we thank you for bringing that forward. We appreciate everything you're doing. Any other questions for Roy before we move on?
If you need a little help with your proposal, to write down what you're asking, we have our attorney here, Tim Brown, sitting right behind you, so you feel free to ask him to draft something up, and we can get through this, okay?
Okay.
I just got a comment. I don't know, Roy, if you've already discussed with people. There's a lot of trend going on with people going to online schools, and a lot of the teachers that I've talked to have found out a lot of them are Cherokee citizens. And so what they've asked me and talked about was maybe finding something for the online school, because they're all over the place. They're not literally in the 14 counties, but there's Cherokee kids that are online that we could probably do some language stuff with as a class. And the guy that's over the K-12 program is open to that. So
Okay.
I just think that's a way, if we're gonna do it, we could start with the young, make it simple, and because they will give them credit for it
Yeah.
in their schooling. So, I mean, there is a big trend with online schools. There's different ones that you've had. But I would just suggest, if you haven't already started that, because you guys are on top of it, obviously, that was just some of the people have talked about.
Yeah, we do online classes, but not necessarily in that format for like a school, like an online academy kind of situation. That would be interesting to do that for language, though. I mean, we could create virtual immersion schools, doing that kind of thing. So.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, in Tulsa and Rogers County, I mean, that's where I'm familiar with a lot of those, because a lot of the public schools, a lot of those kids, I know Catoosa's down, I'm not don't correct on the numbers, but they're down 20% in students that have went to online instead of going directly to the school. And that's a pretty big number, because they get money for each one of them. And a lot of those teachers are now going to online schools to teach.
Yeah.
And I know they do a different format, but they are open to more classes and to create that. So if you need any help with that, you can give me a call, and
Okay.
I can introduce you to some of those guys. So, but I think it's online's a statewide thing. So I think if we can reach as many people as we can and start teaching, I think that would be a start on that part. But you guys are doing a great job.
All right. What else?
Thank you.
Okay. We have one more question from Councilor Shambaugh.
Actually, I have a comment. I received a text the other day with some pictures with a lady from Kansas Public Schools, and they actually have a language class at Kansas now. And she sent a picture of the people who are in this language class, and they range from ages from 8 to 61 there to learn, and the room is full of people.
Oh, that's great.
So that's an awesome deal, and we're expanding out in the communities, and the communities are taking an interest in this. But I just wanted to make note of that that's in Kansas, Oklahoma, they got a class, and they got a classroom full of people. So that's an awesome thing.
Great. Okay. Thank you very much, y'all. Good report, Lori.
Thank
Next
you.
on our agenda is
That's only the first plea.
Kevin Stretch with CCO.
God, ask Udawadis, Howard Payton, to make his way up here. He's going to talk about the CL MAP program. And
Might take
do you guys have?
Give a minute to clear.
Yes.
Cherokees never just leave the room, they always want to talk to everybody. Hug and shake hands. There's a basic conversation.
Okay, you might say that again, Kevin, what you just
Said Howard Payton, Udawadis. I'd like him to report on the status of the CL MAP program, if you don't mind.
Okay.
The CLMEP program is doing well. We're excited. You guys have heard a lot of what we've been involved in. Of course, Roy Boney and his team has helped so much, and we are in sync with one another. As mentioned before, we're having a big event tomorrow. It's going to be some awesome presents, and you know, I'm hoping as many speakers as possible gets there. We've got a lot of different things that I think that they will like, including some pots that they can, some kettles they could cook from, and that sort of thing that we're giving away. So the door prizes was just is outstanding. The different departments, different people that's heard about what was going on, and so many of them have volunteered their time and their resources, and so this is not done by a single department. It's done collectively, and that's the truth when it comes to preserving our language. That there's no way that one group is going to be able to do that. Just like Counselor mentioned, we have folks in different schools in Little Kansas and different places that's, we can point out each one of your districts, the people that's doing things. So it's an honor. We've enjoyed being involved in the speaker role. We've had a lot of different events, and I know some of you guys have been to them. We've been to North Carolina. Somebody mentioned about being there, and I've been there several times, but we had the opportunity to go and to go up in the mountains and sit in the living room of some of the speakers in North Carolina and watch them get involved in this as well, because this is a tri-council agreement, and this is something that we're all working together with. So I'm glad to be here, and we'll be glad to answer any questions from any of you guys.
Anyone have any questions? Or Howard? Yes.
I have a comment. Are you going this year, Howard? Are you going back to North Carolina this year?
Oh, I'm not for sure yet. I know that there is some of the folks from Consortium is going in a week or two because they're having an event there, and one of their elder meetings, the Cherokee speaker role is going to be there, and so it's we're still collecting some of them speakers' signatures. Although, as my understanding, I think when we started there was 212, and I think they told me yesterday there's 204. So they're losing that population just like we are. So.
Well, the reason I was asking, and if you get with Speaker Byrd, there is a gentleman, and I brought this up in a meeting it's been months ago about a song that he sang. you know, and it was handed down through the generations. The last song they sang before removal. Boy, it'd be neat to get that on audio.
Bo Paris.
Yeah, good guy. And we got to sit in his house too and listen to him sing. And it's kind of a neat deal. But yeah, that would be a good thing to preserve if we ever go up there. I mean, it would be a good deal to record that song and get the lyrics of it and the words. If you know, and Speaker Bird would probably have to tell you how to. If you know him, then.
We do know Mr. Paris. He is he has probably 1,000 songs memorized by heart, and
He's amazing, non-tribal member, speaks and sings the language. That's amazing.
And preaches their funerals a lot of times. Yes. I mean, he's amazing elder. That he's an awesome resource.
But that's what we just thought. We had talked about that before because that was a kind of a neat good story. Mm-hmm. You know, and that it would be a shame if that song was lost if nobody else has it.
And Councilor Shambaugh, that's true throughout all of our 3 tribes. It's amazing how often we get somebody come and say, you know, I was thinking last night about this, and here's a word, or here's a phrase, or here's a song that, you know, I haven't heard in 50 years. And so we're in the process of trying to pull all that together and put that in one place. So we're one thing we've done is we wrote a little grant that allowed us to go and take pictures of archives, and try to find some of these things while we still have the resource of the speaking population that you just saw to ask, because we don't want to lose anything. All of it's precious, and it came from Unetanahi. So if we can do that, maybe we can talk. And if you remember, or if Speaker Bird remembers the song, maybe we can arrange that. So
I have a rough draft recording of it. There's a few people that know the song, but you know, for those council members and guests that do not, it was a song that when the soldiers were getting ready to remove, there was a couple that said, "Can we sing this one song before we start this journey?" Mm-hmm. This was this song that they sung before they started the journey. Richard Pickup knows that song as well. Yeah, because him and Bo are like this. But we recorded it. It's a rough draft, but it'd be neat to record. And I'm not for sure the Eastern Band has ever honored him in a way I think he should be honored. I think they take him for granted. And maybe we need to initiate that from here, but I didn't want to step on anybody's turf either. With protocol, you know, that's like them coming over here and honoring one of us and us not even knowing about it.
Right.
But we're going out there too in a couple of weeks. Maybe this is something we can communicate with the leaders of that tribe and follow the right protocol if we would either honor this guy.
I would like to request that I know that many tribal counselors are starting to have their annual meetings or their occasional meetings, and I would appreciate it if you would bring up the language and the book, and to reach out to Howard and his group or Roy and his group, and to try to get them listed in our book, and to help them, you know, give us an opportunity to go out and record them potentially. So if you get an opportunity in your meetings, we'd appreciate that.
Right, that's a good idea. Kevin, are you through? Howard?
Yes.
We'll go ahead with Kevin's report.
You have my report. If you have any questions about it, it's really mostly based on the CO MAP program. And I know that there are big plans to try to, help me out, Howard, quadruple the output of that. And it's a great plan. And he's nervously excited about moving forward with it and this new facility.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Counselor Shaw had a question for Kevin.
Yes. Kevin, have you been able to identify the problem and correct it, hopefully, on the failure to mail the notices for the at-large community meetings that we just did? How many, I mean, I understand it's different, this problem was in different areas or whatever.
Right. Is there one specifically that you're,
Well, let's see, Coca, Central Oklahoma, Houston.
yeah, the Central Oklahoma was a unique thing because it is, on the verge of being in district. And so we just had a failure to communicate between me and Ed Crittenden to develop that list. And so I personally spoke and apologized to the Oklahoma City organization.
So I was really surprised, though, to see the same thing happen, it seems, in Houston and San Antonio, Austin.
I was not familiar with there being a problem, other than getting a mail out late to the Houston area that arrived 2 days or 3 days before the event.
Well, I was told in Sunday that they hadn't received the notice either, And I was just wondering, could we not put that under one person, to make one person solely responsible for it, so we don't have this problem again? But no, I was told in San Antonio that there was a problem there too.
I was not familiar with that. I know that we get return mails, and so that kind of is our verification. And
This was a whole group thing.
Okay.
But I just thought maybe if we could put it like on one person's responsibility to make sure these notices, it's a lot of people we're taking down there at tremendous expense not to have them notified. So.
I think our chief of staff has something to add.
If I may.
Sure.
I've actually been working with Mr. Van with registration, who is very familiar with the whole process. And we're pulling all of our groups together because not only do we have council community meetings, we have at-large meetings, we have special events, and we are trying to get ahead of those so that we don't duplicate that, where we fail to recognize or contact people in advance. And we're also looking at other methods similar to the robocalls, social media, and how we burst this out and try to connect to as many citizens as we can. But we are trying to put that in one area and have a centralized process so that it can be replicated. And it's not, the other thing is we want to make sure it's not contingent upon one person. And that's what we had in the past. We had one person that was a driver of all of that. When that person left, that exchange of information and processes did not happen. And so we are building a process so that we have a team that works on that and can back one another up so that we don't have failure with a single contact.
What was interesting is that when they were discussing this Sunday with me down there, they were talking about, it was kind of interesting. Some of them got the flyer, but some of them didn't. And it had to do, they were talking among themselves, but they thought it was the zip code. That was, the ones that had it all have the same zip code, and the ones that didn't receive it had a different zip code, but yet they all are the same group. And I don't know what the answer is, but I think it's an expensive mistake for us to be making. And I don't want to see anybody denied being able to come to our meetings because they weren't notified. So if that can be corrected, I'd be grateful. It sounds like it's a bigger problem than I thought.
We actually have a meeting scheduled tomorrow to kick this off. So.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Councilor Nofar?
Yeah, I just want to get back to the Master Language Apprenticeship Program. I'm excited to see all the details of what we'll have for the expansion of it. Have we looked at maybe working with NSU at all at possibly granting certain college credit hours for foreign language study maybe, so that way we get some of their students involved in this program? I think that it's quite a lot for our citizens to go into it, and I applaud them for going into it and immersing themselves in our language to try to keep it wholly intact. But far as when they graduate, what can they utilize with it? And I think that possibly if we look at bridging, getting NSU, who we spend millions of dollars with scholarships for our kids to go to school there, if we could work with them and maybe kind of poise them to say, hey, listen, we have an opportunity to where if your students that are enrolled want to come and involve themselves into a 2-year master apprenticeship program, they can learn Cherokee language and be able to come out of it with a possible foreign language degree, to where now they can be educators and they get they go and get their license to the state and work at one of our schools. And now not only are they teaching our kids, but they're also fluent Cherokee speakers who can read and write. So then you're able to not only take it from where we're at now, but possibly looking at it from a standpoint of getting teachers with this program involved. It may take a little longer than your standard schooling at NSU, but since it's here, it's localized. We're kind of working with NSU a lot already. I don't know if that's something you guys have talked with them about, or maybe we could look at doing that with this program. I think it could be something pretty beneficial.
That's exactly right. We're doing two things, Councilor Milford. One is we're working with NSU for them to recognize our classes some college hours, and so they're looking at 30 hours. But in the meantime, what has happened is some of the language classes, they're able to take a test and clip out, especially if they have graduated our program. Number two is Mr. Boney has a program that helps students go through a 4-year degree with NSU, and it's for Cherokee teaching. And when they get finished with that program is extending to allow them students after they graduate to come into our program. So we're in a process now. All the details isn't all worked out, but we're in a process of doing what you're talking about. And
awesome.
A little bit more about that program. It's the Cherokee Language Teacher Training Scholarship, and it's through Education Services. So if a student wants to go to NSU, because currently NSU is the only university that has a Cherokee language degree program. So if they go to do this, we pay the entire education, tuition, books, fees, room, board. They get a stipend, the whole thing's covered. The intent is for them to go there and get their teaching certificate in Cherokee. So we have one student that's done this. Her name is Rayleigh Cox. She's going to graduate in December, and so she's going right from that program into Howard's Master Apprentice program. So we are trying to build that pipeline, but we'd like to integrate it better. So you're getting that Master Apprentice training, but you are getting credit for it too. So she went through the whole language program and then I think she got that maybe one class, but we do need a better pipeline built there for that ultimately.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited about that. That's something that I've talked to a lot of people, and they're like, well, you could get into it, but you're losing your job, and then if you're, what if I want to go to college? And so bridging that, and then like I said, that's a great opportunity, and I'm excited to see what you guys are working on. I'm excited about it. So.
And it's a big step, to try to get a university to give you college credit.
Absolutely.
Without their control. And
yeah, I think it does. It does with that school specifically.
Any of our Cherokee classes, are they a requirement for someone to get a Indian Studies degree?
it's my understanding that Roy works with that more. I think is it 9 hours that they do.
Yeah, it's part of the major. There's a 9-hour requirement for
Indian Studies degree?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's a start. And we may have to ante up some funds and say, this is what we'd like to do, and work something out. Okay. Well, this is a good report, guys. We're on to something.
Yes, thank you. Councilor Crittenden.
Hey, Roy, the thing you mentioned about NSU, everything's paid. Say that again for me, and how many slots are available for that?
It's called the Cherokee Language Teacher Training Program, and it's through Education Services. And we get funding for 5 students every year. We only have 3 in it right now. We have a staff member, her job is to recruit. It's been difficult finding people to take that track, honestly, because it is a big commitment. And part of the issue kind of plays back into this, once they go through this program, where can they go with that degree? Because the public schools don't have funding to hire these teachers, so.
I would like to think here.
Yeah, definitely. We need more job opportunities for them when they finish. And currently that's been a roadblock. They come out and they have nowhere to go.
So 2 and 5 students a year, get a college degree, Cherokee language, right? And so 3's currently participating.
Yeah.
How long has that been going on, Roy? Boy, I'm opening myself up to, you didn't know that?
It's about 4 years, I think.
All right.
So we had our first graduate last year, so our second one's going to complete in December.
Now, that's separate from our master's apprentice here, right?
Well,
So,
Roy's program and our program go step and step. So we have 2 of our graduates in that program right now.
so they are in that,
So
but
we're
it's separate,
feeding,
right?
we're feeding them back and forth. So.
Okay, so college degree, 4-year degree, everything paid for. We got a big old Cherokee Nation here that surely someone goes to that trouble, I didn't mean trouble, goes through that work,
Counselor Critton,
stage.
excuse me, we have to kind of move, we got another report and it's.
Let me finish this statement,
Well,
please.
okay.
We're here
You could
for a little bit.
handle
But
it
if,
offline.
they should have a place to come back to. That shouldn't be a question, especially when we're talking about 3 to 5 folks. And so that's exciting. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. Any other questions? I saw your hand up, Dora.
I just wondered, is there an age limit for the teacher program?
No age limit.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good report.
Thank you.
No.
Last but not least, we've got Cherokee Heritage Center or Charles Gord
I
Historical
would keep us
Society.
posted on tomorrow, okay? If anything changes.
Well done. Congratulations.
Pretty good.
I bet it'd be nice, though.
Morning, everybody.
Dr. Gord.
I'll make my part of this real short. I had a written report that you all have received that has all of the other kinds of stuff. I wanted to introduce and bring forward Shanishta Cloud, who is our outreach coordinator. Her primary function is to schedule and work out of the Heritage Center into all of the public schools in northeastern Oklahoma. So,
Oceana God.
Yeah.
As he said, I am the Cultural Outreach Coordinator at the Cherokee Heritage Center, and I'll just be real brief. I'll just give you some statistics on what we've done this year. So far, 2019, the outreach program has visited 13 tribal districts, as well as at-large groups and other tribes. We've been to 41 schools and communities, and as of Tuesday, we had an event that we partnered with the JOM office here at the Cherokee Nation and several Cherokee Heritage Center staff. We went to the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum in Oklahoma City, and we saw 804 students there for a big Cherokee Celebration Day. We had lots of games and activities for the kids to do. So for 2019 so far, we've seen 10,024 students and community members with outreach program. For the rest of the year, we have so far scheduled 29 school and community events to finish out the year, and already filling up the spring 2020 schedule. What I came up here to talk to you about was last year, the Tribal Council was gracious enough to make a contribution to the outreach program that helped us to get our Oklahoma Humanities Council major grant. The contribution that the council made was an in-kind donation. So what we were given from you all went to part of our grant. The Oklahoma Humanities Council gives us $5,000 outright, and if we're able to raise another $3,500, they match that dollar for dollar. So we get $12,000 total for the outreach program, and that's to cover honoraria to take staff out to schools and events and things that we do, and that also covers our supplies for the year. So I would like to just ask the council if they'd consider making that contribution to us again this year.
Well, without speaking for each individual, but I'm fairly certain that we will, but I'd like a show of hands if we would take, my understanding, each of us would contribute some out of our community assistance. Is everybody in?
Yeah. May I say one thing regarding that?
I'm sorry?
I don't have any money to give right now.
No, after October 1st.
Yeah.
That's only like a few days away.
We're gonna
October
use
1st
your
we'll-
line of credit, Council.
We'll
Take
make
a
sure you have
IOU.
some to give.
I've learned in life not to commit to things I can't carry out.
Right. But yes.
And as of right now, we haven't officially been awarded the grant. We're still waiting on the response from OHC. So just if you could, a written pledge of those funds would be.
Well, just, I don't know.
Do we need an official motion, Shelley? Are we good? Okay, we're good.
Thank you very much. Wado.
Yeah, thank you,
Yeah,
Madam
thank you
Chair.
for what you're doing. That's impressive.
And with all of the places she goes and things she does, I've wondered when she ever gets any rest or sleep or eats or whatever else. But Shanice is probably but one of the most creative people I've ever met, because she's always prepared ahead of time and works with local artists in the communities to provide the services in the school. So it's a tremendous benefit and work schedule that she does. She leaves early and gets back late all the time. We just finished our 5 Tribes Genealogy Conference. We had the U.S. Census Bureau there. They did the first time release of a whole new database. One of the things I would like to encourage the council and the chief and everybody is, I've been involved in the census count for American Indians since 1970 something or so. Seems like a lifetime. Well, it is, but we really need to make a major effort to get a proper count, because I was a rural enumerator in 2010, and I ran all of these back roads looking for and finding and counting people. So that does make a difference in what we get funded. So I'll get off the high horse on that, but I really encourage and hope everybody gets involved with that. We have, of course, you all are aware of the speaker, honoring the speakers thing. It is tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday. Today's just Thursday. I've been off all week. Tomorrow evening, we have an opening of a major art show, an exhibit. It's not an art show. Rob Daugherty, who you all are familiar with, I've told you about this before, of his lifelong collection of American Indians and professional baseball from 1897 to 1947. And Tanya Weevil is doing a phenomenal job of designing, and she's made some uniforms that are time period correct and all of that. So we will have the opening reception for that tomorrow night, and the show actually opens, the exhibit opens then on Saturday. On October 23rd, if you can put on your schedules at 1 o'clock, we will have the dedication of the memorial, the veterans and people who fought in the Battle of Horseshoe Bend, which was our involvement in the War of 1812. What I did was find the quarry from which the Cherokee stone was cut that's in the Washington Monument. We're having an exact replica made, and all of the names of those who fought in the battle, killed and injured. A number of them walked the Trail of Tears and are buried here in northeast Oklahoma. So we're looking for and going to work with the families to put a veterans medallion on those. So that's October 23rd at 1 o'clock. And I would like to have Becky come up now and give you all a preview of our major fundraising and our major event that we hold each year. It's our gala, which will be November 2nd.
Yes, Oceanaga. Well, as you know, since 1963, the Cherokee Heritage Center has not only been the cultural institution for the Tahlequah community, but we have also been the Cherokee experience for the world. That everybody knows. What most people may not remember is that we are still a nonprofit organization. And as staff, our cultural programming, our dedication, and our value as employees and our dedication to the mission is largely in part because of the Cherokee Nation contributions and Cherokee Nation business contributions that we receive. So we appreciate that. But also, as a nonprofit organization, we do have to sustain ourselves and be able to raise funds on our own. So we offer an honoring dinner for a great number of years where we highlight individuals in 4 different categories who exuberate our mission to preserve, promote, and teach Cherokee history and culture in their lives. We've had former honorees such as Wilma Mankiller. We've had Kimberly Teehee, John Ketcher, and we've also had Stacy Leeds, Martha Berry, Lorraine Drywater. So we've had a great number of honorees that have come to this 7-star gala. So for this year, we are announcing that we have, as our Contemporary Achievement Award winner, we have our own Miss Victoria Vasquez here. For a Tradition Bearer, we have Dorothy Ice. For our Stalwart Award, we have Cherokee Nation Businesses. And for our Warrior Award, we have Mr. S. Joe Crittenden. So those are the honorees that we will be having for this year's activities. Every ticket sold, every table sponsored, every dollar that is given as a donation will give directly back to the Heritage Center. So this is just one of our largest fundraisers that we do. So we open the opportunity, if you or anyone that you know want to help us honor these people, we open the opportunity for you to solicit for us on our behalf, and we will take any suggestions that you have.
How much, I have a quick question on that. How much, if an individual just wants to come, how much does that cost?
For the ticket sales, it's $150 per person, or it's $250 per couple.
And we'll be having it this year. It's usually been at the Hard Rock in Tulsa. This year, it's going to be at the Chota. I always say it wrong, but it's the Chota Convention Center here in Tahlequah. So we do have, it's a year-long planning process we go through to make sure all the right things are done, the places are set up, and I think his name is Colin. Colin, who is the person there who does all the scheduling at the event center here, does an absolutely incredible job. He is well aware and ahead of everything, that each question we've asked, he already had the answer, like he knew we were going to come and what we were going to ask. So it will be here, and it's November the 2nd.
Do we have any questions for either of these? Yes, Sean, and we're already past 12 o'clock.
Okay, now I'm the fattest guy here. All that's waiting on us is lunch. This is a cultural committee. Please don't rush me through this. All right, Dr. Gordon, I've got a Red Pruitt that I sent you some information on. Major League drafted. Did you ever get a chance to visit with him?
No, I did not.
And their family, you know, I told them about it way back, and they're kind of excited. So if he would show up to this thing that's coming,
yes,
he could get recognized, couldn't he?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And I did get the tickets, but I was going to get back with you to get the right address to mail the invitation and the tickets, but I have them there on my desk.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I'll
So
get with you on that.
She'll get an invitation?
Yes, an invitation, and I have the tickets.
Okay. And also, Molly, you know, just kind of summed up marketing, operating the gift shop, and miscellaneous kind of funding, C&D's part
Oh, the baseball thing.
in the Heritage Center.
Right.
Gotcha.
And can you, I've got 3 little categories here, like just sum up Cherokee Nation, Cherokee Nation's part, and the Historical Society part. And so I can kind of get this in my head. There's some obvious things that need done. And at the Heritage Center, you guys do great work. I just have to get it clear in my mind. I kind of picture 3 different entities with their hands in there. And in order for our Heritage Center to be as great as it could be, not knowing the history like you guys do, I know some, but it seems like those entities are going to have to all kind of mesh together to do, you know, like the archives thing that we looked at. You guys are doing the very best you can with that precious stuff. And it's nobody's fault that you want to see the most perfect or the most valuable and important document. We're going to the vault, you know, and the vault was just right there in that room with the little old padlock, and that's nobody's fault. They're doing exactly the best they can do. But that's kind of my question, just to get it in my brain, like Cherokee Nation, how would you sum up how we?
The major budget appropriation, the money we receive from the Cherokee Nation, the majority of that covers wages, salaries, benefits, and stuff for employees. Although not all of them are, because some of those are paid out of our separate budget that we have. Of course, all the insurance, supplies, equipment, just the standard line items that go into the operation and maintenance of virtually any program or operation. But the nation provides the funding that would be about at least between 80 and 85% of the total amount that we have available. C&B provides one staff person who does grant writing. That's now Paul Buckner, and he hit the ground running on that because he was former director of CCO and CADA, so he's familiar with funding sources. He's a published author, so he's great at writing, and he's doing a tremendous job on that. Out of our Heritage Center budget, then, we have people that we have to pay extra during the tourist season, so there'll be more people in the village. As an example, that's a major budget expenditure. Utilities, telephone, just the operational part of it, as Becky was pointing out. The galas are major fundraising, and that's what essentially carries us through the winter months when we have to kind of scale back everything because...
That's what you call Cherokee Nation, right?
Yes.
Okay. And
so we have the Heritage Center, we have a smaller part of the, overall total. So it's Cherokee Nation Business, and then what we have from memberships, earned income and revenue, like with Ancient Cherokee Days. The schools come in, we get a fee for that. Whenever tourists come in and take a tour of the village, we get a fee for that. So those are earned income revenue streams that we have.
could you, Dr. Gord, just send me or anybody else that's interested, just kind of a bullet list of those three entities, kind of responsibilities, and I would be interested in that for sure. And could I come by the Heritage Center on Mr. Pruitt's stuff later?
Anytime. Let me know when, and I'll be there and have it. Yes.
I'm done. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, just in closing, or whoever, but back to Red Pruitt. There's people like Red Pruitt's going to be their counselor, and
oh, he already is.
Yes, and that's tomorrow. So I don't know if there's time for an invitation, but he'll be there, and I wanted him to be there. I saw him at a ball game about 6 months ago, and one of the best players in Adair County. But we got Jim Marujo, who works in Catoosa Golf Clubhouse there.
Yes.
He played with New York Yankees, and you got people that say they were ball players, but they hung around Dry Creek and even in shade. Jim Marujo's got a picture of Yogi Berra, Mickey Mantle. They're all standing in their uniform. There's a difference there. All conference or all American. But he'll be there. Lloyd Kingfisher will be there. Our own councilman here played at ORU and played a lot of a big league ball right here, Mike Shambaugh here. So it's going to be an interesting group of people, and they need to be introduced. I don't know how many we can honor, but I was talking to Rob Daugherty last night. And but it's going to be good. It's going to be interesting. Now back to the three groups that are doing the Heritage Center. Molly's been in meetings, and I've been present at some of these meetings, and Heritage Center Board's been there. We're just about there to get more input from everybody and support it financially the way it should be. The first is the archives. We've got to take care of that because of all of our important documents that we have, and people wanting to donate things, and we can't accept those right now. But I've been working with our director here in transferring that property, 44 acres, to the tribe. We were very limited in what we could appropriate because that place didn't belong to us. And we usually don't appropriate to a place that doesn't belong to us, but we're very close to that. And when we do that, we take care of the archives, but it doesn't stop there. Yeah. We've got to visualize a nice facility that's second to none. We're always calling Catoosa flagship this, flagship that. That needs to be one of our flagships for our history and cultural stops. and it always has been. You gave the date, I think 1952.
63, yeah.
Okay, we need to put our money where our mouth is on that. So back to your point, we're getting very close to putting that all together.
It's tougher than usual because
It is.
it's just one entity.
Yes, it really is.
So you guys are coming together.
It's coming together, and Molly's been involved, CMB, the board's been involved, so we're getting there.
good.
So I think a year from now, everybody be excited about what's in the making. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Yeah, all of the benefits, not only of writing grant applications, but with the marketing and anything else we've ever needed, we've called Molly or Eli or whoever else at CMB, and it happens. So it's being coordinated incredibly well.
Okay, but I need to finish out. Okay, thank you for your report.
Yep.
And thank you for your time. Old business, none pending, new business, none pending, and we do have some announcements. I wanted to say that I was honored last night to get to attend the Poet Laureate Joy Harjo's presentation at NSU, and CNB was acknowledged for donating to help make that happen. And Joe Bird and I were there representing the council, and he brought a blanket, and we were able to present that to her after her reading, and it was fabulous. I know a lot of people would think poetry may not be exciting, but she made it exciting, and it was very emotional. It was a great experience. So anyway, that blanket was presented on behalf of the council. Any other announcements? Our next meeting is scheduled to be Wednesday, November 13th at 9 a.m. and call for a motion. Richard?
So moved.
All right, second.